Hello, welcome to today's edition of Rabbi Ron at the railroad tracks. We are here today at the railroad tracks because there's a lesson to be learned from the railroad tracks. As you can see, looking here now at the railroad tracks, we have the bars, the tracks on each side for the train to ride on. And I'm sure you realize that each one of these tracks, these bars that you just saw going clear across Brandon here, they don't go not just across Brandon, but clear across the country. You realize that it's not one bar that just goes round the world, all one united bar, but they are separate little bars that are connected together. What you have is the train has momentum. It has movement as it's traveling, and you can't just put these individual bars side by side together, because otherwise the movement will shake things up, and then the bars, the tracks will move, and then what will happen is the train will be derailed and will not be able to go. And so here on the tracks, they are nailed down into the ground to hold them in place, because it is crucial for the tracks to be held together. Well, growing up as a child, many young boys have train and car sets to play with, and we have tracks for the trains to ride on and for the cars to ride on. But as you know, we don't get to nail those tracks into the floors of our bedroom. That would never happen. And so what they do, one of the different ways of allowing the tracks to stay together, is called tongue and groove. What you have is on one side of the track there is a tongue, just like the shape of our tongue sticking out on the end. On the other side there is a groove, a hole that fits exactly the size of the tongue. And what you do is you join the tracks, tongue and groove, so that the tongue of one end fits snugly inside the groove of the other end, and they're locked into place and held together, so that just like out here, that the tracks won't derail and stop forward progress. In this week's parsha, or portion of the Torah readings, it tells us about, once again, about how God built the tabernacle in Jerusalem. And he tells us that when they built the floor, the wood was tongue and groove to hold it together, so that as the people were there worshiping God, the floor would not move inside the temple. Well, in the writings of the New Covenant, it tells us that we are the temple of God's Spirit. We are the dwelling place of God. And Paul also tells us that we are held together, firmly knit together, one another. A story of example, and let me move, there's actually a train coming right now as we are talking. And so one of the stories is, years ago, Sid Roth invited us to go to Brooklyn, New York, to join him in an outreach to the Russian Jews. While we were ministering, an Orthodox Jew came up and tried to disrupt the service, to derail the service from happening. Without speaking, me and two other people walked forward in front of the speaker, in between the speaker and the Orthodox Jew trying to disrupt the service. We locked arms together. And by doing that, we prevented this person from derailing the service. I want to encourage you. You cannot do things all by yourself. You need other people, but not only that, you need to lock arms, tongue and groove, be firmly knit and held together. Well, the train is coming, it's time to go, and so thanks for joining us. This is Rabbi Ron at the railroad tracks.